Welcome back to Clarity Convos for Wedding Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Aislinn, and today we are talking about how to pick your first platform if you're planning on creating a course or you're planning on creating any kind of coaching offer, and why I am personally making the switch over from Kajabi to Kartra. But before we get into it, I just want to celebrate some of my incredible clients and the wins that they are having. I just heard from two of my clients some really amazing things. One of them is being featured in Martha Stewart Weddings. This is her first really big feature in that way, and I'm just so incredibly proud of her. And when she shared it with me, I absolutely teared up and was a little bit weepy around it, and I'm just so excited for her because this was something that she really wanted, and it was something that she was trying to make happen in her life, and it happened when she least expected it, and I'm just so excited for her. And then one of my other clients came to me and let me know that she had a $10,000 wedding inquiry come in. They said that their planned budget was $10,000, and she has landed a call with them, and I'm so excited to hear back from her whether or not she books these clients. But what's so cool is this client, when she came to me, had never charged more than $6,500 for her wedding photography services, and now she's getting inquiries for $10K. She worked with me inside of Success Accelerator program, and it was so cool to watch her navigate creating the vision of what she wanted in her business and then taking the action to actually make it happen. I'm so proud of all of my clients and so excited for the wins that they're experiencing. It makes my coach heart very happy. So let's get into today and talk about the switchover that I'm making from Kajabi to Kartra and kind of the journey behind that and why I'm choosing to do that. And then I hope that you're able to take away some pieces from this around why you might want to choose a certain platform and what platform might be the best fit for you with where you are in your business. So I started with Kajabi in October of 2021. So before October of 2021, yes, I was coaching, but I was running things through Shopify. I was running into a lot of issues with Shopify, so I ended up making the switch over to Kajabi that fall when I was running my very first group program. So when I ran my very first one-on-one coaching product, essentially, I was running it through Shopify, and then the clients would get emails from me and they would get Slack messages from me. We used Google Drive at the time. I didn't have a lot of trainings at that time when I was doing things through Shopify, but that was the first place that I was selling my coaching offers and selling my coaching products. So after I figured out that Shopify was not where I wanted to stay with my business, I knew I needed something more robust, especially if I was planning on doing any kind of courses or masterclasses or workshops, anything like that. I needed those to live in a longer term space. So I switched over to Kajabi in October of 2021. And this also happened to be when I ran my very first group program. So my very first group program was October 2021. It was a Reels program. So I was teaching people how to create better Reels and better video. And so I ran it through Kajabi and I loved it so much. We had a Facebook group, and then we also had the actual trainings were also hosted in Kajabi itself. So when I first started with Kajabi, I thought it was going to be a very long-term space for me. I thought it was going to be I'm going to be here for years and years and years. And don't get me wrong, I was with Kajabi for 2 years, but I anticipated that this would be kind of my home and that I would stay with Kajabi way longer than I actually did. And here's what changed for me. So when I was first starting coaching, I didn't have a ton of master classes. I didn't have a ton of trainings or programs or courses that I wanted to host in one place. I really had a very select few programs that I had. And so I didn't really need a larger capacity of a place that could host multiple masterclasses and multiple programs. But what I kept running into over the course of 2022 and 2023 with Kajabi was that essentially I was hitting my upper limit with how many masterclasses or how many programs I could have inside of Kajabi before I would either have to upgrade and pay more money, or I would have to delete the classes. So what I ended up doing was mostly deleting the classes. And this really kept me from being able to sell those classes again and again because I had to delete them because I needed to make room in Kajabi for the new things. So that was one of the things that I felt like was a really huge con for me around Kajabi was the plan that I was on was already expensive. And it was very limited with how many products or courses that I could actually have inside of Kajabi. So that's actually another limiting factor. So we'll go over some of the cons of Kajabi, and I'll go over some of the pros as well. So another one of the cons that I really found with Kajabi was the price of it. A lot of my clients come to me and they have their wedding businesses getting optimized. We're raising their prices over there. And then they start to say, hey, maybe I want to host a course, or maybe I want to build out like a one-on-one program or something like that. What platform should I use? And I used to recommend Kajabi, but it is very price prohibitive if it's like your first, the first course that you're creating. It's like $199 a month or something like that. It's pretty pricey for what it is. And so I have a hard time telling my clients this is a good fit for you if this is like the first thing that you're doing inside of coaching, the first thing you're doing inside of creating courses or creating any kind of like additional passive income through some kind of coaching offer or educational offer. So that was one of the big cons for me with Kajabi, was how pricey it was. And it was pricey not only for me, but also for me to recommend it to my clients. So another con that I found with Kajabi, and I don't mean for this entire podcast to feel like I'm bashing Kajabi. There were a lot of really great things about Kajabi. We're going to get to those. These are just some of the things that I was running into that I really didn't like. So one of the cons that I found was that you could not offer multiple payment plans very easily. This was super, super prohibitive to me because a lot of my courses had multiple payment plans. But in order for me to essentially offer someone a payment plan, I had to manually ask them, do you want a payment plan or do you want it to be pay in full? And that just adds extra work and it limits my capacity if I have to manually ask every single person who wants to buy from me, do you want this payment plan or this payment plan? And there were a lot of workarounds I could have done, and I did. But I don't like having workarounds for something that it should just be built into the system itself. So those are some of the biggest things that were cons for me around Kajabi, were the price point, the fact that you could only have a certain amount of products, and also the fact that you couldn't offer multiple payment plans. There was also a couple of like design things that I didn't like about Kajabi, but they weren't like, make or break. They weren't the reason why I switched over, but they definitely were things that like, I was like, oh, I wish they had this one feature. And it was like, you could code it yourself and like do the like JavaScript yourself. But it was just like, I'm not going to sit here and do this when it should just be native to the app or native to the platform I'm using. So let's talk about some of the pros of Kajabi, just that we have an even keel here. We have an even scale on these are the reasons why you might want to choose it. These are the reasons why you might not want to choose it. So pros. One of the things I loved so much about Kajabi is that you can host a podcast. So when I started Kajabi back in October 2021, I had no idea if I was going to make a podcast. It wasn't really something I ever really thought about. But when I started my podcast in, I think it was March of 2023, it was earlier this year, when I started my podcast, it made it so easy because I already knew Kajabi and I already knew like how to set things up in Kajabi. So it was so nice to be able to just like go in and be like, oh, cool, I can make a podcast. So that was one of the things I really loved about Kajabi, was that you did have the ability to have a podcast as well as courses and memberships. And I believe you could sell products as well in like a marketplace type of space. One of the other things I really loved about Kajabi is that it was very intuitive. A lot of people in the coaching industry use Kajabi, and for good reason. It is very intuitive and very easy for beginners. I will say that you kind of have to buy like a template on Etsy to make it pretty, unless you want to spend like a bazillion hours creating pretty sales pages and whatnot inside of Kajabi. So that was one of the pros and cons, is that pros, it's intuitive, but cons, they don't have templates. So you kind of have to do everything by yourself. So one of the other pros around Kajabi was that if I wanted to make a new offer really quickly, it was very, very easy for me to do so. So for example, if someone came along and they said, hey, I want to work with you one-on-one, but I just want to do Voxer only coaching. Can you send me a payment link? It took me less than 5 minutes to create that. I never had to sit there and make an entire sales page in order to create an offer. So I really liked that because it meant it was really easy and quick for me to make offers and send out links really quickly to people. So that's not a con of Kartra. That's just a pro of Kajabi, is that it was really easy for you to make offers really quickly. So for example, if you are someone who is wanting to do like one-on-one coaching, or you're wanting to create like a mastermind or something like that, I definitely recommend Kajabi for that particular feature, because it's very easy to make quick offers and to like have a link specifically to that offer very quickly. So one of the other things I really, really liked about Kajabi is that they added this recently. It's called the webinar feature. It's essentially like a whole funnel. It was really cool. Like it's a whole funnel for a webinar. So it has like pre-done emails for you, and then you just go in and change out the wording in the emails to whatever you need it to be. But it sends out the emails before you have your free masterclass or free webinar that leads into, like, let's say that you are launching your very first course. One of the different ways that you can sell your very first course is to have a free masterclass before the course launch. And then at the masterclass, you sell tickets essentially, or sell seats to the course. So what was so cool about Kajabi was that they had a webinar feature where they had the email funnel set up for you. They had like pre-templated emails for you. And then they like led into the actual webinar. And then after the webinar, you could like make like a specific coupon for the course that you're selling. It was really neat. I really liked it. I only used it once, but I was very happy with it. And I thought it was a really cool feature to have. I don't know if Kartra has that or not. We're going to find out. But it was a feature that I really did enjoy a lot. Okay, let's move on to Kartra. Let's talk about why I'm switching to Kartra, why I'm so excited about this, and then we're going to get into some questions that you can ask yourself so that you can kind of see what you might want to do if you are planning on, creating a course, or maybe you already have a course and you're just not happy with the platform you're on and you just want to see like what other platforms are out there, what might be good for you. So let's talk about Kartra and one of the reasons why I'm switching over. So I have been in several masterminds. I've been in lots of different coaching programs. I've seen them hosted in all kinds of spaces. I've been in ones that were hosted in Kajabi. I've been in ones that were hosted in Kartra, ones that were hosted in Facebook groups, like all the different places. I loved when I was a client and the coach or educator used Kartra. I loved the design of Kartra. I really loved how usable it was. I'm a very visual person, so I loved how visual you could make it. I just really like, as a client, the client side of Kartra. So that's one thing that I really liked about Kartra, is that I was familiar with it from the client side because I had been in spaces where Kartra was like the platform. And so it was really cool to be able to use it as the coach side of things as I'm actually creating, because I already knew the client side of things. I already knew it was a good client experience. So the things that I love about Kartra, I love that I could host as many masterclasses and workshops and products and programs and all the different things. I can do as many of those as I want. And I also get to keep them and I get to resell them as bundles or whatever I want to resell them as. So what I love so much about this is that because I've been coaching for as long as I've been coaching for, I have a lot of masterclasses. I have a lot of trainings that I've done. I have a lot of resources. I have just so many different things that I want my clients to have access to. And with Kartra, it makes it just so freaking easy for me to put it in one place. So let's say like Clarity Academy membership, for example, I might have a masterclass that I did back in 2022 that it would be super helpful for my clients inside of Clarity Academy membership to have access to. I can so easily put that inside of Kartra and my clients get immediate access to it. And it's just so easy the way that it's set up. It's almost like, it's really cool because they have something that's called the portal page, where you can essentially have like different pictures of the different masterclasses that you've done, and the client can click on it and it'll take them to that masterclass. And it just feels really good because not only can I host like new free masterclasses, and the clients who do the free masterclasses will get their own portal, but my clients who are inside of Clarity Academy membership and inside of SAP are also going to get access to those things. And it's just like really visually appealing and really easy as a client to navigate. So I'm really excited about that. And I've been like starting to switch things over from Kajabi to Kartra. And that has been one of the things that I'm like most excited about. So one of the other things I love about Kartra is that they have templates. I don't know about you, but I am not a web designer. Like I was a wedding photographer for a bazillion years, and I had to like update my website pretty often, like portfolio changes and all that kind of stuff. But like, I don't want to sit there and make a sales page from scratch. I just don't. I don't have the like patience for it. I'm not here for it. I just am not. So if you're someone who like is in the same boat as me, where you're just like, I am not here to make a sales page from scratch, what I love so much about Kartra is they have a lot of different templates for those different pages. So they have templates for sales pages. They have templates for landing pages. They have templates for blogs. They have templates for If you want to build like a marketplace of different educational offers or educational like products or templates, they have entire templates for that. So all you have to do is put in your words and change the font and make it your own or whatever. But the templates are there. You don't have to go buy them from Etsy or Creative Market. It's already there. So I really love that about Kartra. And I think it's a really big selling point when I'm talking to my clients about whether or not they want to like invest in Kartra or invest in like Teachable or something. I love that Kartra has templates because it just makes things so much easier. So one of the other things I kind of mentioned earlier when I was talking about pros and cons of Kajabi, one of the things that I love so much about Kartra is payment plans. I am so excited to be offering more payment plans inside of my business because it was not something that was super easy for me to do with Kajabi. And I want to make things accessible to my clients and I want to make it make sense for both me and my clients. So I'm really excited because let's just take Clarity Academy membership, for example. So Clarity Academy membership, you can either do monthly payments or you can pay for 6 months at a time. And what I love about this is that when you go to the sales page for Clarity Academy membership and you click join the membership, it takes you to this checkout cart page and it has those options in front of you. So I don't have to ask you, do you want to be in it for 6 months or do you want to pay monthly? You get to choose. And I love this because it's just like, to me, I want my clients to feel like I trust them to be self-led and I want them to know that they get to make their own choices. And before with Kajabi, I felt like I was having to ask every single person like, hey, do you want this payment plan or this payment plan? And now it's like, you get to choose. You get to choose and it gets to be up to you what you want to do. And the options are in front of you and they're laid out really easily in front of you. And I just love that so much for myself and for my clients. So one of the other things that I love so much about Kartra is kind of something I mentioned a little bit before, is that my SAP clients, Success Accelerator Program clients, can easily access the portal that gives them access to Clarity Academy and also bundles that I do and like free masterclasses and stuff. I'm not having to, this is what I was really annoyed about with Kajabi, was my clients in SAP get access to Clarity Academy membership. I was literally having to take every Clarity Academy membership and put it into the SAP program in order for those clients to get access to those trainings. And it was driving me nuts. So now inside of Kartra, they get access to a portal that gives them access to all of those different pieces, the CAM trainings, the masterclasses I do, the SAP trainings. They get access to all of it. And it's so much easier to navigate than it was in Kajabi. And I don't have to upload trainings that don't make sense for SAP inside of SAP, the program. I don't have to upload them in there. They can just go to their portal and go to the CAM trainings and go to the CAM portal. So I'm just so excited about that because I know it's going to be a lot easier on my clients. So let's talk about different questions you can ask yourself, whether you are just starting to add coaching and courses to your business, or you already have coaching and offers in your business and you just don't know if you want to switch over, if you want to change to a different platform. Let's ask ourselves some questions. So the first question we need to ask ourselves is, what do I actually want to create? Do I want a membership? Do I want a course? Do I want one-on-one coaching? Do I want masterclasses? Do I want workshops? Do I want all of the above? If the answer is I want all of the above, I'm going to recommend you go with something like Kartra over Kajabi just because of functionality. If the answer is I just want one-on-one coaching, you probably, unless you're making trainings and unless you've got resources that you want to put in one space, you probably don't even need Kajabi or Kartra. You could probably just get away with payment, PayPal links or Shopify or Stripe links. You probably don't even need a course platform space if all you want to do is have one-on-one coaching. You just don't. If you're creating a course and one-on-one coaching, Kajabi could work. I'm still going to recommend Kartra. If you're wanting to do a membership, I'm definitely going to recommend Kartra just because their membership feature is so much easier to navigate than the Kajabi was. Okay, so the next question we need to ask ourselves is, what do I need in a platform? If you're someone who wants to host a podcast, Kajabi might actually be a really great fit because it's already inside of the platform. If you're somebody who doesn't really care about that, Kartra might be a great fit, or Teachable might be a great fit. So just thinking about what do I actually need in a platform? What functions do I need to be able to have? And then finally, what are your longer term goals? You might be okay with something like Teachable for a year or 2 years before you move on to something like Kartra or move on to something like Kajabi. So I want you thinking about like, what are my longer term goals and when do I want to invest in longer term? When do I want it to not be a Band-Aid anymore? Because, okay, I'll be honest with you, Shopify was a Band-Aid. I didn't know it was a Band-Aid until it was a Band-Aid. And then I was like, oh, yep, we got to change this because there's no way I can host the things I want to host in Shopify. So that's when I moved over to Kajabi. So thinking about the longer term, like what are you trying to create and like what do you need in order to create that? So the final thing I want to touch on here is Teachable. So a lot of times my clients will ask me, like I want to host my first course or I want to host my first membership, like what should I use? And I generally will recommend now, anyway, I will generally recommend Teachable because of the price point. It's so much like cheaper than Kartra and Kajabi. Or I'll recommend Kartra just because the templates are so easy and it's just an easier platform to navigate and you've got the payment plans there. They're super easy to navigate. So that's one thing I want you guys to think about too is like, is price point prohibitive? And if it is, Teachable is a really great option. So I just want to kind of like end this entire little podcast with just like some encouragement around it's okay to switch over time and it's okay to pivot over time because I started out with Shopify. I stayed with Shopify for, I don't know, maybe a year. It was probably about a year I stayed with Shopify. And then I switched over to Kajabi. I stayed with Kajabi for about 2 years. And now I'm working with Kartra. It's okay to not be working with the same thing that you started with. It's okay for your business to have new needs as you're scaling and growing. And it's okay to pivot and it's okay to change as you need to. And as you start to like hit those upper limits of like, hey, this upper limit is not feeling good. Okay, what do I want to do about it? Okay, do I want to change? What do I want to do here? And if you want to see all of this for yourself, I encourage you to join Clarity Academy membership. This is my strategic space for wedding professionals who want to build stronger foundations inside of their wedding business, create converting content, and have a business that people actually want to refer. There's so many amazing little strategy like masterclasses that are already in there. You also get bonus courses in there. You also get lots of different resources in there. It's an amazing space and you can join using the link inside of the show notes. That's all we have today for today's podcast. Thank you so much for joining us and I will see you guys on the next one.